Hey signers, today on Learn How to Sign, it's going to look different, and for the best reason possible. I am joined by Rannah, the founder of St. Francis de Sales School for the Deaf in Uganda. She shares the school's mission to give language and educate deaf students in Uganda. A few of these stories you may need a tissue for. We will also chat about the differences between ASL and Ugandan Sign Language. All the proceeds from this video will be sent to St. Francis de Sales School for the Deaf in Uganda, and we have left a link for you to give directly as well. We are excited for you to hear her story and heart. So let's learn how to sign. I am so excited for you to be here. Do you mind sharing with everybody about how the school even began and what that journey looked like?
Yeah, so thank you so much, Meredith, for letting me be here. So I took American Sign Language in high school only because you had to pick a language. Yes. I didn't think I would do anything with it. I tried even dropping out my senior year, and my high school teacher did not let me. The principal didn't let me, and I was like, I'm not using this for anything. I want to get out of this class. I want to graduate. God had other plans, so I was baptized at the end of the year on Easter, and I gave my life to Christ. And at the same time, in our sign language class, we had to pick a country and do their deaf history, do a project on their sign language deaf history. So I chose Uganda, did the research. My heart was broke that there are children that are deaf that don't have a language. And the biggest thing for me is not having a language, not being able to read the Gospels, not knowing the truth of Jesus that I had just learned myself and accepted Christ right into my heart.
Right, yeah.
So senior year, the end of that, I was emailing with this school for the deaf in the capital city of Uganda, and they were, helping me answer questions. I did this project, and then just through prayer, I was like, I'm gonna go to this school. So
That's amazing.
I know, it's insane. So college went out the window, everything did, and I told my ASL teacher, I was like, I'm going to Africa. I'm gonna go to Uganda.
Was it that summer after, or how soon after was it?
I worked for a year. So 1 year I worked to try to save money, and then I was fundraising at the same time. People were giving me donations. And so I worked, and then I went in 2014. So I had just turned 19, so I went for 7 months to work at a school for the deaf in the capital. So that's how it started. So I had to go and learn Ugandan Sign Language, and it was in the slums of the capital, and just learn about the children. Mm-hmm. My first day there was the first day, so I was 19, and it was the first day of a girl who was 17 years old who had never had a language in her life.
Oh my goodness.
Never communicated with anybody. And some of the biggest things of when you're dealing with silent pain of what I had grown up with, I've had this, even though I could talk, but struggling with depression, struggling with all these things, she had that as well, but couldn't tell anybody. Couldn't just do basic communications. Hey, how are you? How's your day? Whatever. Yeah, so that hit hard. And so through this time at this school, there was nothing for me to do. I was running out of things to do, and the director didn't have any more things to do. I was helping him with some online stuff. And he told me one day, he said, I think God is calling you to this area. I was like, what are you talking about? Mm-hmm. So some of these students that were sponsored, they are actually from a village 8 hours away from the capital city where there are no schools for the deaf. And the director took me there. And something happened in my heart. It was the first time I saw some extreme poverty. Most everyone lives in mud huts, and there's no schools for the deaf. So you have siblings that are going to school, parents have to go to work, and then a deaf child is just left there. No language, no communication, no school. You're left without a community because no one knows your language, what you're going through. Yeah. And anyway, so God, through his providence and a lot of hard work, we started the first school for the deaf in this area.
Oh my goodness. Mm-hmm. That's just amazing to me to think of the connections and everything that took place during that time, and then just the word over you to be called to that place. So it was a solo trip when you went out there.
Yeah.
How was your family reacting to this?
They were fine. Surprisingly, they were fine. It was weird because I've grown a lot, and God has stretched me a lot, because I used to not be able to go into Walmart by myself. I kid you not. Or order a sandwich at a restaurant, just very shy, didn't want to get out of my shell. And They trusted in and knew. When you're seeing that, and then you're seeing somebody coming out of their shell that says, I'm going to Uganda, I'm going to start a school for the deaf. That was wow. And they knew it was from God, and they trusted in that.
Yeah.
Especially like my mom, she's like, okay, I just trust in this calling that has to be from God. And so they were fine, very supportive of everything, like, and supportive, like with money, with anything I needed. Like they were, the first donors, obviously.
Yes, exactly.
So yeah.
Oh, I absolutely love that.
Yeah.
All right. So during those few months and then years, any obstacles that you faced growing the school, making connections in those sort of areas?
Yeah. The biggest thing is I never started a school. I never thought I never thought I would work in education.
I would say that would probably be the biggest one.
I don't know if everybody does that every day. I had no idea what I was doing. And in that is the total surrender to God, because when you don't know what you're doing, but everything in your heart and your soul, that deeper knowingness, that deeper of,
yes.
I must move forward. And so every day was having to trust in God, and there was miracles happening every day because I didn't know what I was doing, but I did because I was trusting in God.
Oh my goodness.
So the obstacles were of just trusting, and thankfully the diocese I lived with, like in the safety of like the guest houses of the priests, and the diocese was helpful. So they were giving me the best employees, and so that was hard. The initial getting kids to come to school, that was interesting because this is a new thing for the community.
Yes.
There's so much ignorance around deafness, of hearing loss. And sometimes with some people, they connect it to the brain and think, oh, because you're deaf, you cannot learn. You can't understand certain concepts or whatever. And there was even things like the mysteries of the faith, how can they comprehend? And so to get people to trust me, especially as a foreigner, we had to go out a little bit and do some outreach with the parents of, please trust me, send them to the school, we're paying for everything, we're gonna teach them the language. So term 1, they do 3 terms in a year, and I remember that it was a Thursday when our first term closed, because our students went home, and that very evening when they're arriving home, they're showing their parents their books, which is just like a word, like cow, chair, cup.
Right. Yeah.
And they were pointing to the word with their parents, because they called us and are telling us on the phone, my kid knows stuff, like they're learning. So they're pointing at chair and they're signing chair. And they're pointing at, cup, and then they're just doing this with their parents and getting the household object. So the parents were blown away. And so that first term, we maybe had 20, maybe 30 kids. And then the word spread like wildfire, after I got them, just trust me, like they're learning a language. This isn't like a weird school, but so it was really tough initially working with the students. It was crazy.
Building the trust between the families and the kids and everything like that.
And our program, like everything we're going to do. And then of course the students too, a lot of them were scared. They've never been to school before.
Right.
It's a boarding school, so now they're sleeping here. They're not at their homes. So building their trust was also hard, especially some of them that have faced difficulties, whatever they have in their past, to trust new strangers. And then it was to teach sign language. We were teaching sign language from children 3 all the way to 18 years old. Never had a language.
Okay.
So have never communicated with your hands. And all of a sudden, we had to have them repeat. And we brought in objects, and we're just like, we're making you guys repeat.
Yes.
So that was really difficult, getting kids in order, organized, and just having them communicate with their hands until finally it like started clicking in our students' heads, and they're like, wait a minute, this is a full language that we're about to.
Yeah, what I'm doing right here is giving me access to communication and understanding that.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness, that's incredible.
Yeah, it's amazing.
So, okay, you're talking about the language itself. There's a difference between American Sign Language and Ugandan Sign Language. Can we look at some of the signs and show everybody kind of the difference between the two? Okay, perfect.
So these are so fun. Man, for example. So this is man. Because of the beard.
Because of the beard. Okay.
So this is man.
Man.
And then you would do father.
Okay. Father. Yeah. And then father. All right.
And then woman.
Okay.
Very visual.
Right.
Woman.
Yes.
And then
woman.
Yes. And then mother.
Okay.
Yeah, there's a table in the way, but
mother. Yes.
Because you produce a child.
Right,
Yeah. So giving birth, so the same sign with father would be, they don't give birth. But
right, but the Yes.
Yep, the concept. And the alphabet is mostly the same.
Okay.
We do F.
Okay,
Like
F.
this. And then we have P, and you guys do P. We do S.
S.
So you kind of write it out. And then T. Yeah. And then U.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So U, making
U.
kind of the shape of the U, but then we have the letter.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I think everything else is the same. And then our numbers, I think, are fun.
Okay, yeah, we were talking about this before. Okay, here we go. So we have 0.
0, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I don't know where the, because
All
it
right,
looks like
the
the number 6.
Yes,
Yeah.
okay.
7.
Because of the number, yeah.
8.
Okay, that one is crazy to me.
It's so funny. I know.
I feel
it was hard. It feels very awkward.
It feels okay, but it does. But so you have to hold it out like this, though.
No, you just sign 8.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
okay.
but it's when I'm explaining to people,
yeah.
that's why.
Okay.
Yeah.
And
8, and then 9, and then 10. Yeah.
That is so interesting.
So it's a lot of
And then, so of course, like vocabulary and stuff. Do you see any similarities between the two that pop
Some
up?
things. Yeah, there's. Okay, you do sign language, right?
Yes.
ASL.
Sign language.
We do sign language. So
Okay,
it's just
sign.
a little different. And then
Okay.
language.
Yes.
Deaf. How do you sign deaf?
Deaf.
Okay, so I think it's the same. Sometimes
But
they
with-
do 2 fingers, sometimes they do 1.
Okay.
Eat. Some of those things are obvious. Good morning.
Yeah.
Right? It's the same
the
here.
same.
Good.
Okay.
Thank you. You're
Okay.
welcome. Some of those things are the same. So
Okay.
it just depends, because then when you get into signing and conversation, it's just so different.
Right.
It's so different.
Exactly. And we were talking before about kind of the variations in village signing as well. Is that something that like we call it regional signs, where you see some regional signs within certain parts of America and everything?
Okay.
Would that be considered kind of the same, like regional
Yes.
village?
Yes. So I haven't gone all over the region to learn different places of village sign, but where we are, we also have the young adult program. And so that's where we have an outreach to deaf adults, to help them, to try to employ them, to teach them further sign language, to catechize them, and to give them jobs. They all work at our school. And that sign language has been different than the official Ugandan structured sign language that we are teaching in our classrooms. So some of those students we had first in our classrooms to make it more of the official language. But as I was telling you before, I hang out with the young adults so much. And I minister to them so much. So my sign language is a bit more casual.
Yes.
More with them and more attuned to the young adults rather than our teachers that come from the universities in Kampala. They're very, structured with that. So, so it is different, but
Yeah. Okay, so Brian's gonna shout out some words to us, and we're gonna show the difference of the signs or the similarities.
Okay.
All right.
Let's do it.
Hello.
Okay.
Same.
See you later. Or goodbye, however you would do that.
I think it's the same. Yeah.
I know that you do love.
Oh yeah, I do. Do you guys use love
all the time?
All the time.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't think I have ever signed to my students, "See you later." I just say like, "I love you."
Right.
Bye.
Exactly.
Love
right.
you. Love
yeah.
you.
Love.
See you
Love.
tomorrow.
Yes.
Tomorrow. Is
tomorrow.
it the same?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah. Tomorrow.
So, see you tomorrow. That's how's same for you?
So that's
Same.
an older sign for same. We do same, similar, like this.
Okay.
But then we can do
all the time.
same here, same old, same
We
old.
do that.
So
We don't do that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's the same.
No. Help. Please. Thank you. Once.
Oh no, ours is like this. I was like, wait.
okay. All right.
Want.
So
They do
want.
Yeah.
okay. What
And if
about
they're lazy, it's more like.
it comes down.
Yeah.
How about dog?
So we have all different variations.
Oh.
You have to bite it. So. Yeah.
Okay.
It's so weird.
Ours, you can slap here, here, here.
Okay. Dog.
Cat.
Funny. Cat.
Same.
Okay.
Eat. Or food, like other noun verb pairs.
Yeah. Do you do like eat versus food?
No.
Nope.
I mean, it would be
the same.
Yeah.
Milk. More.
More. Okay.
Go to, like to go to wherever.
Go.
Oh, like G-O,
Yeah.
go. Are there different variations for the sign love?
In ASL, isn't it like
Love it versus loving something?
No.
Okay.
And a lot, we do with one arm.
One
like,
arm.
I love that or love it.
Finish. All done.
Same. One
Do
thing.
they do mouth morphemes?
No.
Okay.
No. So
All
that's
right.
what I was gonna. There's also, finish pa. So
Yes.
I've taught that because I love that. Pa.
Yes.
And then it's an English word that I've taught my students, and the sign for weird,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
Okay. Because I love that.
Yes.
So many of our young adults didn't even know, like, the English written word weird, what does that mean? So I went through that definition so we can all sign weird because
Right, yeah.
I sign it so many times, and so they know it's ASL, but
Yes.
I just want to sign weird.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh man,
Yeah.
those were so interesting. Like to see the similarities, but then like variations and understanding. Now the dog thing, I didn't quite know. I don't know.
What's pig here?
Pig.
Okay, so ours is almost, so it's close.
Yes,
but
right.
the
Yeah,
snout
it's
would be like
the
this.
kind of those iconic parts of it.
And then goat and parent are so similar.
Okay, what
There
is
that I get confused all the time.
Okay.
So goat,
Okay.
right? And then I get confused because I think then it's P. It's parent.
It's P
for parent.
versus.
And then these,
Gotcha.
I guess it's a horns and the beard.
Right. Yeah.
Goat. But they make fun of me because I always sign the opposite for the other, and I'm
Yes.
talking about
You're like,
slaughtering our goats, and I'm like,
you're like,
we're gonna do the parents.
"No,
No.
don't do that."
Yeah. So there's
weird.
similar. When I communicate with deaf people here, I use USL.
Yes.
And then they're using ASL. I try to remember some ASL signs, but then it throws me off. But I find that we're still able to communicate.
Yes.
Because it's sign language and it is so visual and you can understand so much.
Right.
So,
Yeah.
and because we both ASL and USL, the official sign language or the official spoken language in Uganda, like all of the school curriculums is in English. So when you speak or when you're signing with people in ASL as well, both kind of learn to read lips, and because the alphabet's so similar, communication to me, it's easy, it's functional.
It can work.
If you don't know something, you just finger spell it.
Right.
Or if people know how to read lips, you can do that, and so it becomes easy.
Yeah. So when students are at your school, teachers are working there, what does a day or a week or a term looks like for them as well?
Yeah, 3 terms in a year. They come in February. And let's see, that every day is wake up at 6, get ready. So they bathe, and then we go to mass at 7. It ends at about 7:45, and then we have assembly. All the students gather, we do morning prayer, just, whatever's going on that day, if there's a holiday or sports or whatever. And then, so they get into the classroom at about 8:15, and they go and learn and switch classes. It's like an hour each classroom. Tea time is at 10, so that's breakfast. So 10:15, we do tea break, so then they go eat breakfast. And then that break is like 45 minutes, and they get back to the class. Lunch is at 1. And then we have Wednesdays are sports days. And so like afternoons, it depends. I'm really flexible with our teachers, and I like them to be free. And I like our children, I don't want them to be stuck in classrooms all day, every day.
Yeah.
Because it's a boarding school, we all live together, and there's about 50 students, and we make it really fun and really active. And one of the most beautiful things about sign language, and one of the things that is so important, is communication skills. Communication skills, topics. So no matter where we are playing, you're learning.
So incredibly important.
Yeah, so Wednesday also is washing day. So Wednesdays and Saturdays are washing days, so everything is washed by hand. So our students will do that when they get time. So maybe in the mornings, but I like to do school and then wash in the afternoons, and they'll do sports, which is just hours of playing. So we have their
Just
soccer teams,
playing and
volleyball,
enjoying.
whatever.
I love it.
Yeah, and school ends at 4. And then that's where the children are free. So we have what I call a library, and we have library books, a lot of picture books, I buy these giant books that you can find that are just huge with stories, and then lots of games that have been donated from a lot of people in the US, just different manipulatives, different games, problem solving stuff, and I just want them to play. And they do that a lot Fridays. So we go on and off. I like Fridays more, free days. Sometimes our teachers just want to do a lesson that day, and that's fine. Or on Fridays we do center learnings where it's games. It's games, but it's learning. They're communicating, they're building. We have Legos, we have drawing games, we have a ton of chess sets. We've taught all of them chess. It's a real problem-solving thinking game. Saturdays, again, are washing days, and then also soccer. Or football. So there's like a football field near for the community, so our young adults go there. Sometimes our students will if we have a game. And then it's washing and playing. And so they all stay on campus. We have goats, we have chickens, we have our garden. So our students also help out with some of that stuff, just daily life skills of picking some vegetables, or making sure they always clean their rooms, the compound, the classrooms. That's their responsibility to do. Again, it's a boarding school, we're all a family. And so they do everything. So if we're harvesting beans, then the whole school is getting the beans. We're laying them out, we're drying them out. Sunday is the day of rest. We feast all the time. We have a bunch of meat. So we go to church and then we feast and play and do whatever. So that's basically it for our students. They all live there. And then we have our teachers, they all live outside of school, so they just walk to come teach every day. And if it's raining, they'll be a little bit late because, again, they're walking on a dirt road. But that's pretty much it for like a day. That's how our week normally looks. If there's a feast day, or a big holiday, we take the day off and we eat. We slaughter our chickens, our goats, and we just celebrate. I'm big on that, again, on just like having a lot of fun and doing community first and love first and a lot of communication and playing. I cannot highlight how important that is. I've seen the fruits of it at our school. Instead of just hammering in academics and hammering in, I don't like that. So, we have random days that we show up with like cookies and soda or just because we love them. And you see it a lot in how they are. It really just increases their morale, their personalities and how they are, just letting that, have fruits. And then we take care of all the anything medical for our students. And we're right next to a hospital, so that's super convenient. But if we've had major surgeries that we had to do last year, and so we have our team that takes them to the city, so whichever student that is, and then just caring for them. And then they go home for 2-3 week holidays during the year, and then at the end of the year, December, January, that's also a holiday, so they go home.
And so the December, January is typically like the longer break in between. More like our summer break, but it's December, January. That's the end of the year. End of the term would be the end of November. That's when we have our exams, and then they go home. Gotcha. I love the idea of teaching within just play and activities and the community and everything. I think that's so important for them to just like have those connections with each other in just such a real way. So earlier you said like you had to go out and convince people to come to the school, but now what does it look like? Is there any convincing, or are they just coming in? What does it look like now? Are you still having to convince?
So now word has spread that there is this amazing school for the deaf. We're doing all the school fees, everything, and the children are learning, they're thriving, all of the things. They're coming back to their families. Their families are impressed by also their behavior. When you don't have communication, you can't communicate things. There's a lot of like anger, whatever you're feeling. So that has spread so much that we've gotten calls from a place even 12 hours away wanting to come to our school. Like that is parents that are finding us that want their kids to come to our school, some from the Congo, all around our whole region. Sometimes they send their students on taxis, bodas, their motorcycles, they're like taxis, and they will send their children by themselves, hoping that we will take them, and we have to send them back. We have to tell the taxi, take this kid back wherever you got them. We have no more space. We have no more space. Our little ones, they're already sleeping two to a bed, like a smaller twin bed. It's not a full twin, so I don't know what those are called. These small twin beds, they're already sleeping two. And so we have no more space at all. And that's the saddest thing, is because there's a lot of different things that we're helping with students. So we are a school for the deaf. So the first thing we're teaching is language, right? And that is huge. And I don't know if we you can't fully understand that unless spend a week in silence and never say anything to your spouse. Don't use sign language, like never say anything, never have your needs heard, never be seen. That's how we receive one another, is through communication. Is I communicate myself to you and you have the space and you receive me and then you do it back to me and I'm just having that space for you. We receive one another. They don't have that. So now we're teaching the language and we only have space for these 50 students and we've had to cut it off and send them home. I did sneak in. It is heartbreaking. Yeah. My staff know this about me, that when I am there for registration days, it's hard for me to say no. I'm heartbreaking. You just cry. I just cry. There's nothing to do. So when I was there, and when we opened our first term this year, I was there. And so I did sneak in some more students. And I did not tell our operations manager. I just told our head teacher. You're like, just come here, I did because they came, they met me, the moms did, and the grandmas, and they showed me their student. And I'm a kid this big, no language. And you know how important language is with your brain, the receptors, everything. You have got to give that. And so I took in all these students, and then our operations manager told me later, he's like, there's these kids here. Did you know about this? And I was like, yes. I had to say yes. They know that. So now that's the problem. We are launching next month the building of 20 classrooms. So we were given 30 acres of land. Let me back up. Where we are building our nursery school, primary school, secondary school, and vocational schools for the deaf. So the vocational is all for the young adults. So it's huge. Incredible. Staff housing, everyone will be able to live there. And then we have a whole farming section. So it's 30-something acres. Huge place. We'll have our playgrounds, everything. So we're launching 20 classrooms for 500 students next month. So we haven't reached our goal, but we're gonna start building. Yes. And God will provide, because all of these students are coming. Every year, every term, so many students are coming and we are turning them away. They're not students, they're children. All the way up to 18 that have never had a language, they don't know how to communicate. And another problem is like, their parents have to go to work at home and their siblings are at their schools and they're left there alone. And so they're more, bad things can happen to them, abuse, whatever, because they're left alone. And, that's another thing that we're trying to help with. So there are so many children that we're trying to get to and trying just to build these classrooms so that we can bring in more children to become our students and to firstly teach a language to and provide a sanctuary for them. It's a boarding school, a sanctuary, a safe place for them, a safe place for them to be at nighttime where, so many of our students have told me how afraid they are when they at home and stuff of their hut lighting on fire or afraid to go to the bathroom by themselves at nighttime because can't hear anything. That takes off. That's so scary when you're walking alone in the dark at nighttime. And our students have told us now, because when we first opened, we didn't have our bathrooms finished. And now we have our bathrooms and latrines finished and it's all lit up. And we have an amazing security team. Our school is the safest place to be. And our students, it's a huge thing that our students have expressed to me, just that they know they can wake up at nighttime and they can go to the bathroom in a safe place. Right. Yeah. It's such a little thing. They're not having to worry about anything around them or nothing is going to happen to them. So it is, I've been calling it recently more a sanctuary for these students to be and to learn and to have that community, that deaf culture. Yes. A lot of them, they come from villages far away from each other. And so many of our students cry when it's time for the holiday because they're gonna go home and they're probably not gonna sign for 2 months or for 3 weeks. Because some are near their friends and others are not, so. We get to provide that whole, like I said, a family, a community for the deaf, for them just to be able to thrive. Yeah. Now, with the building of the new school, you mentioned all of these, what were the names of all of them? It was... So there's a nursery school. Okay, so that's nursery school? Where we take students 3. You're supposed to take them at 4 or 5, but because it is so important to get sign language, you have to get a language to students. So we take at 3 years old. Yes. And then it's the typical, what do you do? Elementary, middle, intermediate, high school. So secondary school is like high school. And then we're having vocational school. Okay, tell me about that. That's my favorite. I heard that. I was like, oh my goodness. Yes. Okay, what's going on with that school? Yeah. So there's 2 things that you have to help with is 1, deaf children being born now or becoming deaf now. So you need to have that baby school to get those kids in a language. But what about all these young adults, these adults that are deaf, that have grown up with no school, and so they have no work, they're on the streets. We don't want them falling into bad things on the streets, you know?
Yeah.
That's where the vocational school comes in that I cannot wait to build, so they will be able to learn technology, computer work, woodwork, sewing, catering, whatever it is, to have their own business, create their own business. So what we have with our young adults now is, at first we sponsor homes, so we still do it for young adults who are coming in now that we need to transition. So we pay for their apartment, and then they start working for us. And we also teach them correct Ugandan Sign Language, because a lot of it is just local village sign language. So we do that, catechize them, and then also like help them with business, help them to manage money.
Yes.
Everybody needs help with that. And especially when you've like had none of it and never dealt with it, then they're employed at our school. And so our vocational school is what I'm most excited for, is to transition them into life, to live your own life, but to give them that boost of giving them whatever education they want. And also I believe in training them to work at our school. So we are,
I love that.
So
That's
we've
amazing.
seen the fruits of it. We are one of our oldest students. She came when she was like 16. And so she's old now. Like she's 18, 19, and she's ready to go. And I asked her, what do you want to do with your life? We are going to support you, whatever. And she said she wants to be a matron, which is like a nanny. She wants to stay at school. She wants to just be a nanny. And so that's helping with the little ones, wash all their stuff for them, bathe them, get them to school, help them with, you know, if they take medicine. And that's what she wants to do. She wants to be there. And so many of our young adults, they've said the same thing. So we have a young adult that we sponsored through, I knew him from years ago, and he finished his primary somewhere. His parents had money to send him to school, and they didn't have funding for secondary school, so I sent him to secondary school in the capital. And now he is a teacher at our school, and he's managing 3 classrooms by himself. Yeah, so we've already seen the fruits, and it's fantastic.
Yes.
And so that's our vocational school, is to take any deaf adult and give them, I love to have just the freedom and the openness of what do you want to do and how can we propel you with the gifts and talents that God gave you, and then help you start your own life, your own business, teach them, you know, just things from God, from scripture, of how to be a good husband, wife, friend, neighbor, work person, right? From scripture. That's the most important thing, again, from language, to give them that, because they didn't have that your whole life.
Yeah.
If no one taught you, so you didn't know.
Right,
I didn't know. I didn't know until I was 18. I started having this conversion myself, and all of a sudden I'm reading a Bible, which before then I don't know, I didn't know. It wasn't being taught to me. So that's the same concept. So I love all of it so much, but I really love to be able to outreach to young men and women, or older men and women that are deaf, that don't have a place to go, or they're just there. Like, you're just there, and what do you do?
Yes. So you have come to my work, several years ago, and you shared stories. And then I've gone to the gala where you've shared stories about your students. And I have to tell you, anytime that you've shared stories, it's either like, I've been crying out of like joy for, you know, them walking into your school and finding language, or through heartbreak of things that they've experienced. So do you want to share some of those stories with everybody?
Yes, I also always cry, just because, like you said, it is beautiful, and it's always the joy that is more beautiful is seeing the transformation. So I think one of the harder stories, not every child's life is like this, but it really just does show me all the time, and our board especially, is to keep pushing and to keep doing this, so we prevent, you know, if one bad thing happens to one person, there needs to be an uproar. So we did have a student that he was my guard and my assistant, we heard about one time, and just through like town gossip, and the language they use is there's a disabled boy somewhere being abused. And so we went on a hunt for this kid, and so we take our motorcycle and driving through village, and this is just rolling hills of green, beautiful village, dirt roads. We were just driving, and you show up at different villages, different huts, and you ask, do you know about a disabled boy somewhere? That's the language that you use. So it was a full day of that, just driving out into village after village, trying to find a child. And we did find him, and he was crawling on the ground, and just the just so dirty, and so down. I can't explain, like, just the whole facial expression and demeanor is just down. You can see, you know? And that's how it is when you like hurt somebody and abuse somebody, it just pushes somebody down.
Yeah.
And the people that were caretaking for him said, oh, he doesn't walk. Like, I was like, okay. I am usually pretty patient, try to be really understanding of people's lives and where they're at and stuff. I don't know where the family's at, what they're going through. And myself and my assistant, we were just wrecked. And we were also very irritated. You cannot treat children like this. And so we pulled some strings and we took the kid that day. And as we were leaving with the student, the village children in that village were saying in their local language, why are you taking our pet? Yeah, pretty disgusting, pretty horrendous. And he can walk. And that's what gets to me the most is like when you think about hurting somebody so much and yelling nasty words at them, or when you treat somebody terribly, then it pushes them down and pushes them down. And so it's like, that's why he was crawling. I will never forget watching him come through, there was like 2 huts and he just comes like this and he's crawling on the ground. What's interesting is, so I look different than most people there. So some people think I have a disease because of my freckles. Like I've gotten that a lot. So I look really different. There's not a lot of foreigners, like white people out there. So a lot of our students, when we first get them, they cry when they see me. They're like, what is that? What are these spots all over you? Because they just, okay, you've never seen that. And especially freckles. He did not do that. He was beaming. When we picked him up, you sit on a motorcycle, so my assistant's here, and then pick him up and set him on my lap, and beaming. Waves at everyone, like, see ya. He has no language, right? Has no idea who I am, where he's going, but it's better than that.
Yes.
That's what struck me and struck my assistant is like, wow, this is insane. And then we find out later through teaching him a language that, you know, he has his traumas and abuse that he has faced that is just horrendous.
Right.
So the joy of that is watching God transform him. Yeah. So we built, because of his certain disabilities that he have, I don't want to be too specific with him, but we were able to build him his own bathroom for him to cater to his needs that he needs. And that is so simple and so silly, like, oh, a bathroom or a toilet. But it makes me so happy to see our school that it's the one child in front of you, the one person. What can I do? What do you need as you? Right? Nothing to do with me. What do you need? So we built that bathroom for him. Nobody else uses it. It's his. It's for him. Just him. And when has that happened in his life? I don't know. So that's one of the things. I mean, we had to clean him up. I don't know when the last time he had bathed. He had sores all over his body, like horribly. And to watch him transform and to be happy and joyful all the time and walking around and playing soccer, our head teacher really took to him, and you know, you have to hold his hand everywhere, but he's walking around and he's running the best that he can and playing soccer with the other kids. That has been the most beautiful thing ever.
Just the giving him the opportunity to thrive versus the situation that he was in.
And to be a person. I was surprised at how basic it is. Like at first opening the school, I was thinking so much academics, like, yes, like this is so important. I don't even care about it anymore. I don't even care about it anymore. It's the basic you need to be a person. Yes. And be allowed to love and be loved. That's what we're here for. So to be able to give that. And then we have another story that was with me is one of our students, who's a young girl, and she was older. But a priest called me and said, you need to take this girl. And I was like, Father, no, I can't. Like, she's older. I can only take like so many kids, and I'm trying to take these younger kids. They're easier to manage and stuff. And he's like, you need to take this girl. So I did. And her attitude reminded me of when you are so hardened, you put up a defense mechanism, and so that you don't get hurt. And that's how she was. She didn't want to be hugged. She was so stubborn. She would sit with her arms crossed when I was teaching her language first. And I would not let her go to lunch, like until she just copied me, just sign one thing. And she just stubborn. And it was just, I mean, I remember it got to a point, I think she hit or she tried to hit. She punched one of our teachers. And so some of our teachers were like, we can't do this. She's as tall as me. So she's like 5'10", 5'11". And how do we deal with this? And I said, no, like, I'll take care of it. And so it was in the very beginning is pushing with her through love. I'm going to take care of you every day and I'm going to make you learn sign language. But you can't say that, you know?
Right.
And now she's the one that wants to say and be a nanny at school.
Oh my goodness.
Yep.
What a full circle moment.
She's amazing. She's the big sister to everybody.
Yes.
I'm glad for the priest for saying you must take her and for just preserving through that and giving her that love. But I saw myself in her of just past trauma that I've had, and you build up this wall and push people away, and now you can't hug her enough, and she's so loving, and that's the joy of Christ of giving somebody that. So, and language, to be able to communicate, like what's wrong, what happened, how are you? That is so important. And so communicating with her every day, even when I'm here, I get to Skype with our students or video call or whatever, and still to be able to fully communicate with a student. How are you? What are your needs? Whatever. And just to really receive her has been beautiful.
Oh, I love these stories. I wish that we could just go through give me all the stories of every single kid so that way we know. Yeah. But with that being said, I know that there are ways that you can sponsor kids, support your program, support your school. How can people do that?
Yeah, so we are a registered nonprofit here in the States. So it's St. Francis Ministries and stfrancisministries.org. And subscribe to $35 a month. That's something I really, really need. And it's something I can rely on. The exchange rate is great. So it turns into a lot of money over there. And $35 a month, if I can get 100 more people to do that, it's something I can count on every month. So I know and I can budget in. We are taking care of the medical costs, clothing, anything these children need, more food, a better diet, these celebrations we have, bringing over more games, whatever. $35 a month. And then also a one-time donation. We need $250,000 for these 20 classrooms.
Yes.
We're not there yet, so we still need, I think, a little more than $150,000.
Okay.
We're going to break ground anyway. We're going to build with what we have. We have to start. And so if you can do a one-time donation to that, that also helps a lot. And then I did just get the budget yesterday for so we already built our borehole, our well deep in the ground. And so now we need the pump and the solar panels and then our tanks above ground. We need to pay for those, and that's going to be $20,000. So I just got that budget.
Right.
So we have big things. And again, in order to move our students to this new location, it's just the hill next door, and to be able to take in all these students that are, knocking on our door, these parents that call us from everywhere to open it up, even from the Democratic Republic of Congo. We're right on the border, but we're in Uganda, and we even have people from there that there's nowhere to send these kids. And we can't just leave them. You have to give a language and just boost them through life. So we need donations towards that, one-time donations, or if you could just subscribe, $35 a month. I've learned in US, it's not that much money. It's $35 in a month. It's almost $1 a day that you could just put away and help us run this entire school. And with moving over, when we do move over and take on 500 students, we're gonna need 500 more donors monthly to sponsor every single one of our students. So,
well, I hope that through this video and just your connections with getting the word out there, that you can get that you can get more than that.
Yes.
Because what you guys are doing is absolutely incredible. And it's an honor to get to sit with you here and for you to share your story and to share the story of all of these students with everybody. Thank you.
Thank you so
really
much.
Appreciate it.
You're welcome. Thank you for having me here.
We are incredibly blessed to have the time for Rannah to share her heart and mission. If you would like to support her, the students, or their building, we have left a link in the description. And while you're at it, if you would like to offer encouragement or a prayer so their school knows they are receiving support from all over the world, do so in the comments. Until next time, keep learning how to sign.